Then I want to talk about this illusion of, or maybe our um, focus being too much on feeling good, especially when it comes to us growing, when it comes to us getting better. And this is coming from like one of my clients. She's an Olympic athlete, and she reached out to me about asking what to do or how not to focus on the pain. And in her case, it's physical pain as well, because during the performance or the level that you're performing at, um, especially at level that she's at, like there's no way how you will not feel the pain during performance or the pressure. And it made me reflect on some of my experiences when I was in the sports, but also through certain phases of life when I would elevate, grow, develop, and improve. And for the most part, I think it's hard not to focus on the negative because it's there, it's visible. And for the most part, it will stand out because it's negative. And in some ways, our brains are trained or are focusing on the negatives to help us to avoid it. So I think it's hard not to focus on it. Or maybe it would be hard to set a goal to get to a place where you don't focus on it at all, which I think is possible. You can be present despite the pain. But I think the first step that can help is one, accepting the pain and knowing that it will be there because it has been there before. And and it's not just the physical pain that I'm talking about, it's also emotional, mental, because for the most part, when it comes to breakthroughs, you get breakdown before you get the breakthrough. And it doesn't feel good. Growing, getting better, developing, it requires you getting out of your comfort zone, which doesn't feel good. It's not comfortable. If it was, it would be comfort zone. And I think it's about changing the way we look at it. So I think for it doesn't mean that let's say in my case, that I like feeling bad or I like the negative emotions that come with me leveling up or growing. But I know that it's part of the journey. I know that it's part of the game. And at this point, I associate doing things that I don't want to do or making decisions that I don't want to make that are helping me to move closer to my goals. I look at it as a positive. I look at it as a sign that I'm growing. I look at it as a sign that I'm getting one step closer to where I want to be or who I want to be. But does it feel good? Not really. I would say majority of my day is spent doing things that I don't want to do. Rarely I actually do things that I really, really enjoy doing or that I want to do in that moment. Um, so that's where I think it's about sorting out or filtering how you even perceive your emotions or how you feel, and looking at ways if you can in some ways shift that or transition that towards something that might be serving you better. Like for me, for example, today when I went to the gym and I did my workouts, I did legs today and it was hard. And as I was doing the workout, first of all, I was able to see that my body is getting stronger, which is really good feedback. It doesn't mean that the workout was getting much easier. It just means that I can do maybe slightly heavier weights. It didn't feel good. Walking down the stairs after the gym was hard. It wasn't easy. Um, and there were workouts that I didn't want, or that there were exercises that I didn't want to do. But as I was doing them, as I'm literally half, or like let's say out of 12 reps, I am 5, 6 reps in, and I know that I'm only halfway there and I can barely do the rep, that's where actually started to have fun. I started to enjoy it because I knew that, okay, this is where I entered the growth zone. This is where we actually start to grow. And it doesn't mean that I'm always feeling that way. It's not every day. Some days I'm just like, "Ugh, I can't wait for this to be done." But some days I actually really enjoy it. So I think it's a lot of practice, but I would invite you to remove the expectation not to feel bad or not to feel pain when you're growing, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, whichever area it is. You will go through discomfort before it becomes your comfort zone. But it's just the way it is. It's just part of the journey, and it's part of developing your character and developing certain characteristics about yourself. It's like you can't become patient without doing things that require patience. It's the same with resilience. You can't become more resilient unless you do things that require resilience. So if you're going through something where you're feeling bad, you know that you're being stretched, you're being challenged, stay in it and trust the process and know that there will come a day when it will feel easier, or you will now have the next thing that will be hard. And in comparison to that, what you're now struggling with will be easy.